Hi, I'm Taylor. Today's video is going to be a quick start guide and overview of Ableton Move. Tiny bit of backstory, my little brother just got one and I just got off FaceTiming him and I said, you know what? All of the information I just told him, other people are gonna need. So I'm super happy to help. If you're like, why on earth would I listen to you? Well, I hope that you've noticed by getting here that I've done a lot of videos on the Move. I've been using the Move since it came out. I've been using Ableton for over a decade now. I make lots of music. I really wanna help you be creative. I hope you learn something from any of my videos. And I really think you're gonna learn something from this one. And I promise I know what I'm talking about. Not that I need to sell it more. But if that sounds good to you, please like, please subscribe, please stick around. Let's get into it. To get started, here's all your I/O. It's gonna be a little bit blurry because I'm not gonna change from manual focus to this, so bear with that. But you have your USB-C, which is your power. You have your Midi, which is USB-A. You have your audio in, which is 1/8 inch. You have your headphone out, and you have your power button. Midi doesn't work as well with USB-C. So use the Midi port for Midi. Also, if you're curious where the speakers are, there's a couple cutouts down here. Those are them. So now to get started, let's turn it on. And your startup is going to be a little bit different if this is your first time. The startup is going to look like mine is right now. Mine is a pile of colors because I have a lot of projects in here. Yours will have 4 at the bottom left. When you start it up for the first time, it will ask you for Wi-Fi, and so you will go through the steps to do the Wi-Fi. This is your scroll wheel, so you'll turn the scroll wheel. It is like you can press down for selecting things and turn it left and right. It's infinite and it is notched, so you'll feel it. It's really great. You've probably already noticed this. It'll ask you about error reporting once you've connected to your Wi-Fi. I say yes, but that's a personal preference. Do what you want. If there's an update, I also say yes. Definitely update. Ableton updates this product a lot and it's really great. The updates usually are very robust and give you a lot of new features, so I highly recommend staying up to date. And once you've done the update and everything else, bam, we're getting started. So if you want to go through their projects, you can. It's usually the bottom 4. They won't be the same colors as mine because my bottom 4 are not those. If you don't want to use their default projects, press any pad anywhere and now you'll have a new project. But you'll say, hey Taylor, it didn't do anything. And I go, you're right. To get into your project, you press any of the 4 track buttons. Doesn't matter which one, you just press it. Now you're in your project. All right, so the overview of the whole unit. You have your screen up on the top left. You have your 8 touch sensitive encoders. And as you can see, they change when you tap it. And they're also endless. So as much as you scroll, it will go up or down. Your far right over here is your volume knob. And if you notice there's a little cutout here, that's your microphone for sampling. It's a great microphone. It works really well. These lights underneath the encoders will change depending on what you're doing. On the right side, you have capture MIDI. So right now it's not lit up and it probably wouldn't be for you unless you've pressed some of the pads. And what capture MIDI does is while you're playing, it's recording without saving all of the things that you're playing on the pads. And if you stumble on something you love, awesome. Press this button and it will make it so. The button next to it is your sample record button. Below that is your loop button, and then mute, and then delete, and then copy and also paste, your undo button, and your shift button. You'll notice one is concaved, the rest are not. So your shift button is concaved so you can find it without looking, because the shift button will be your best friend. Now below that, you have your plus and minus, which is your octaves. Next to those, you have arrow keys. So once you have a clip, this is your navigation. Down here is the sequencer. This is 16 buttons that show you your sequence. You'll notice that there's 4 lines. And this is where your quarter notes lie. That way there's a little visual cue. Next up, we have the play pause button and the record button. You'll also notice that the record is the same concave as the shift so that you don't have to look and it's easier to press when you need it. And then up over here, you have your back button that is related to the screen and the menu. And then you have your session view or your view change button, which will change your pad layout. So if you press this, it now goes to the session mode, and then you press it again and it goes back to note mode. And then these 4 buttons right here are your track buttons. One of my favorite things about Ableton is it will randomly load 4 sounds, so you have some instant inspiration. I have videos where I've gone directly with whatever the random was and would not vary from it, linked below if you want to watch that. Awesome, so now you might be thinking like, okay, great, I kind of know everything about the Move. Well, not quite. It goes a lot deeper. Remember how I said the shift button is going to be your best friend? So now when I press shift, look at all these new icons. I'm going to go through an overview of these and then we will go inside of them. I am not saying the official names of each of these because I have not memorized them, but I will tell you what they do. This is your projects button, your settings button, your quantization and timing button, your tempo button, your metronome button, your groove button, your layout view button, your key button, your velocity button, your repeat and arpeggiator button, and an add clip button. Now let's go somewhere else where I can fill in the gaps of these extra ones that aren't here. So if we go down here, I think I gotta play something for us. It's gonna be not great to hear, but like, now I have a duplicate clip button and a quantize button. To access any of these, you have to hold down shift. Obviously they don't show up when you don't hold shift. So when you're holding shift and you press any of these buttons, it'll take you to the button. So pressing the project button takes you back out to your main menu of projects. So I'm still on that project. To get into it, you press the track again, any of the tracks. The settings button is where all of your main settings are. So mine, I have battery, I've got Wi-Fi, you've got your update, Ableton Cloud is here. Ableton Cloud is the way you interconnect Move with Ableton and Note and all of the other things, the Ableton ecosystem. So in here, you have to go to move.local, and it's really easy. You type this into your web browser, and then on the web browser, it says type in the code that the Move is showing, and it will talk to the Move, give you a code right here. I think it's an 8-digit code. You type it in, and then you're in the Move Manager, and it's very straightforward. There's your recording section, there's your project section, there's your preset section, and there's your sample section. It's gonna ask you if you wanna turn on cloud. I suggest you do, because then it syncs to your Note app and Ableton automatically, so any projects you've worked on here. It only saves 5, but any 5 projects you've worked on here, it'll go immediately to Ableton, makes your life really seamless. Really useful. Let's go back. So Control Live is if you're plugged into your computer and you want to control Ableton with Move. Ableton Link, it is Ableton's way of getting Move and Push and Note and Ableton to talk to each other and be tempo synced and make them more performable together. It's really great. It's really cool if that's something that you're looking to do. Next is Midi sync, and you have the ability to choose whether or not your Midi sync is off, in, or out. I currently have mine set to out because I use the Midi in Move most often to control other things. If I wanted other things to be controlling Move, I change it to in or off if you're not using it at all. Next is USB-C audio. USB-C audio is whether or not you want the USB-C on here to be your audio output, so you don't have to plug in an 1/8 inch here to go to an interface or anything. The other really awesome thing is you can have it be your microphone. So if you wanted to take the audio from a video that you took on your phone or whatever you have that has USB-C inputs, it's really cool. And now I've already talked about Move Manager, but the cloud, if it's not on, is how you get into the Move Manager. And if I press this, it's the exact same thing. It's telling you how to access it. Same as the cloud. Advanced gives you basically just like resetting the whole thing to factory, your refresh rate for this screen, and if I'm sending errors or not. Lastly, brightness. So this brightness is related to the pads. So I have it on mid, there's low, there's dim, there's minimum, and then there's high and max. I think mid is perfectly adequate for me, but when you're using it outside or in bed and you're just getting absolutely blinded by this thing, it's in the settings menu. Next up, we have your timing section. So this is where quantization and timing are. And so I have my quantization set to 90%. I don't want it to be the tightest thing ever, but I want it to get close. And then the step grid is currently at 16th notes. The slowest you can do is 8th note triplets. And you'll see that it skips the 4th on each one because it's triplets. But then you have 16th notes. You can go all the way up to 64th notes. I leave it at 16th notes. I don't need anything more than that. And then you can choose if you want to count in to be on or off, and if you want to auto load. I like the auto load. I think it's great, so I'm not gonna touch it. Next up, we have tempo, very straightforward. You pick your tempo. After that, we have metronome, which is as straightforward as metronome on and off. When it's on, it'll show you the icon that it's on. When it's off, as you would assume, it does not show you the icon anymore. Next up is groove, and this is the amount of groove you have set. There's not options for your groove, you only have whatever groove is built in. and it's the 1 and you choose the percent of it. I like it. I usually turn it on, but if it's not for you, don't do it. And then next is playable view, which currently for drums is 16 pitches. And that is saying, so like if you have a snare, you can change the pitch of the snare. Basically low to high, and you can change the octaves. Very cool feature. After that, we have key. So now in key, let's go to an instrument that actually uses this. So now in key is showing you your pads, only the notes that are in the key that you've selected. And you might be going, why does your view look different than mine? Because when you first get it, this bottom one is set to octaves. So you have each octave. I prefer the way that they've had it in the past for push, or the default, which is fourths. So fourths, you actually deal with the scale in threes. So you deal with it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now your next question might be like, but what if I'm doing a scale that doesn't have 8? Well, luckily for you, we just go to it and you'll see that the root note is always lit up in whatever color the track is, and everything else are the correct notes in the scale. And as you change keys, it will not change the layout. It just changes your root note. So you're never exactly playing a keyboard, but also I skipped what in key is. In key or chromatic change whether or not you are seeing only in key notes or chromatic, the entire scale of notes. So this is more like a piano keyboard. Granted, it won't look like a piano keyboard. So you have every note in the scale plus all the notes that are not in the scale. So the notes that are lit up are what is in key. The notes that are not lit up are what is not in key. I like to keep things easy for me, and I leave it in key and on fourths. Next up is your velocity, and very similar to the metronome, you either turn full velocity on and the light stays on, or you turn full velocity off and they're velocity sensitive pads. So you do you. And then one of my favorites next is the repeat, which is also your ARP. So it has repeat and then the rate, which when you go into repeat, it now changes the style as it's saying. So you have repeat, which will just repeat the one note, which is great for drums, like hi-hats and things. You have ARP up, ARP down, and ARP random. And beyond that, you have the rate. And you can go from quarter notes all the way up to 30-second triplets. And then this creates a clip. So now if we go over here, I have a clip built. I think that was the view that I was in. Was that the view that I was in, or was I over here? Let's see what happens if I press it again. Yeah, because I'm selected over here. So now I have the duplicate and the quantize. So if I press the quantize, it will tell me that it quantized it to 90%. And if I press this, it will double what I just did. So now the loop is doubled. That's your menu. Pretty straightforward. A couple quick things to get you going. When you hold down the track and you use the volume, it's now the track volume, and it says it. So you're going to be working with specifically the track volume. Otherwise, you're working with the entire master volume. And same with that shift. If you hold shift and press M, you're now looking to solo a track. If you want to change some of the deeper settings, like if you're going to use this for Midi or whatever, if you hold down shift and press a track, you now get the different menus, which give you Midi out control, Midi in control, and the color of the track. The colors are numbered, so you kind of just have to scroll through until you find the one you want. Now let's go over a little bit of what the screen is telling you. So right now we're looking at a drum rack. And that icon on the left is what a drum rack is. And what's nice actually is it highlights what pad you're on in the screen. So if you want to change what the drum rack is, make sure you're all the way left and it highlights all of it. You press down on the scroll wheel and now you can choose whatever you want. You do not have to select it to hear it. You can just be on it and then play it and you'll hear whatever that specific rack is. You could build yourself a clip and then go through all the drum racks and hear what they're doing. It's a great little quick change feature. And if you want to get back to where you were in the menu, you just press whichever track you were on and it'll take you out of the menu. Back will keep going back in the submenus. Next, this is the sampler because we are in the drum rack, which is sample based. So now it's showing the samples. And as you play them, you'll see the sample changes. If you go, I want to change the volume of just this one sample, it's too quiet or too loud, you hold the sample and then you use your volume. And you'll see the sample get bigger or smaller, depending on what you're doing. Next, beyond that is your effects send, which is part of the drum rack. Nothing has effects going to it from this channel of the two that you get for effects until you tell it to. So right now I'm on the kick, and if you notice, this knob turned blue because my channel is blue, and we're on the reverb send. So if I go back over here, it's not blue anymore. Then I go back here, now it's blue, which is this channel's reverb send, which is currently infinite, like negative infinite. So now I turn it up, and now it has reverb, but if I go to the next one, it doesn't. This is a good way to be able to turn certain effects on for certain things and not have it on everything else. To change the settings of your reverb, it is on all of these knobs. And again, they're touch sensitive. And then next is your entire track effects. So this effect is on everything the whole time. So of the two effects, the second effect is on the whole track the whole time. The first effect is your effect send, which you can change. So that's what a drum rack looks like. Now let's go to one of the other instruments. So this icon is drift. Drift is a synth that Ableton has made completely customizable on Move. I'm not going to go into that, don't worry, there's another video for that. I will also link that video down below. So same as all the other things, when everything is highlighted, if you select it, and then you can move as much as you want. See how the icon is changing here? That's the wavetable icon. That is drift. And then that is, I think, sampler. You can see what instrument you're using based on the icon that's here. So if you wanted something that was more customizable, then you would need to go to drift. If you don't care and you like the sound, perfect. So now you'll see that we've lost one icon, and that's okay because you're in the instrument and the two effects. The effect for this one is delay and reverb. Now, unlike the drums, it is not an effects send, but it works the same way, sort of. It's still lit up green because this is your dry wet. So this is how much of the effect you're using, but otherwise, it acts the exact same. And it is always on the whole thing the whole time because you don't have different things happening. You can put any instrument you want in any order that you want, however you want to do it. There's no rules. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm super happy to help. I am pretty responsive in the comments, so let me know. And if you need a faster response than a YouTube comment, Instagram is probably the fastest way to find me, which it's @whostaylor. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you're making music now. I hope you enjoy this. I'm very stoked for you to have it. I'm very stoked for you to be creative. Please like, please subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.